We said that when we're comparing positive and negative numbers, we're going to be discussing a lot of real-world examples. So we began with that game of Jeopardy, the trivia game show where if teams answered questions correctly, they got positive points and their score went up. But if they answered questions incorrectly, then they got negative points and their score went down. We're also going to be talking about changes in temperature and money and how we can talk about negatives in regards to those real-world situations. But every single example and problem that you do, you'll need to know how to use a very special and important tool to be able to keep track of your thinking and show that you are correct. And that's a number line. You've used a number line before, but in 7th grade, we're going to be extending the number line to include both positive and negative numbers and fractions and decimals that come between our positive and negative numbers. So to begin, a good place to begin is to have 0 right in the middle. That's our very special number. And you know after 0 comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice that I left some tick marks blank here, and I skipped over our integers. Those are going to represent the numbers that come between our counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I want to figure out what those numbers, what the tick marks here represent, which numbers they represent, then I know it has to be more than 0, but less than 1. And I know this tick mark is halfway between 0 and 1, so this has to be 1/2. Same thing right here. This time, this tick mark is more than 1, but less than 2. And it's halfway between 1 and 2, so it's the mixed number 1 and 1/2. So pay attention to the scale and make sure that you are counting up at equal intervals. This number line, this example, is counting up by half. Half, 1, 1/2, 2, 2/2, 3. Over on the left-hand side are going to be these same numbers, just their opposites. So if this is positive 1, then this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And it's the same thing with our negatives with our fractions. So if this is half, then this is negative 1/2. What you're noticing right now is that every number on the right side of 0 is a positive number. And if you move to the right, you are going to get bigger and move in the positive direction. And you're also noticing that everything on the left side of 0 is a negative. Moving to the left is moving in the negative direction, and you'll get smaller. Something else that I just said is that negative 1 and positive 1 are very special when we compare them. They are equal distance away from 0, but on different sides. So we call those opposites. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And positive 3 and negative 3 are also opposites. The opposite of positive 12 is negative 12. We can use this tool of a number line to compare numbers. So for example, if I asked you to tell me which number is further away from negative 1, negative 5, or positive 1, then you could use a number line to start figuring that out. First, I want to know what numbers am I comparing. First, I want to compare negative 5. So I might put a dot on my number line to visualize that this could be negative 5. I'm then going to start filling in some of the other numbers. Well, I said 0 is a really important number, so I might count from negative 5 to negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, then this has to be 0. I also know that I want to compare the number positive 1. I know positive 1 is going to be on the right-hand side of 0. So if I'm counting by ones, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, this is positive 1. Okay, so those are the two numbers that I'm comparing, and I want to compare both of those to negative 1. Well, negative 1 is on the negative side, on the left side, so 0, negative 1. Now that I've got my number line set up and labeled, I can figure out which number, negative 5 or positive 1, is further away from negative 1. And without even counting yet, I can already see which one is further away. But to double check, I can count the spaces between. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. The difference between negative 5 and negative 1 is 4. The difference between positive 1 and negative 1 is 1, 2. Which one's further away? I can use my number line to know that -5 is further away from -1.